'70s Show changed my life forever.
That 70s Show was a groovy sitcom that transported us back to a decade of bell-bottoms, questionable fashion choices, and decisions by teenage characters. But behind the laugh track and nostalgic haze, some secrets lurked, waiting to be revealed. Get ready, because today we are diving into the flip side of Point Place and uncovering the dark truths that cast a shadow on That 70s Show. From behind-the-scenes controversies to surprising cast stories, these are shocking things that they didn't want you to know about That 70s Show. Mila Kunis lied about her age. Mila Kunis landed the role of Jackie Burkhart on That 70s Show when she was only 14 years old. That's pretty surprising, since most teenagers on television are played by older actors. But Mila managed to pull it off, even though she kept a big secret from the producers. Instead of telling them her true age, Mila gave the impression that she was already 18. She didn't lie straight out, but she might have hinted that she'd be turning 18 soon, without saying exactly when. This worked until it came time for official paperwork. Then everything had to be out in the open. It turns out, Mila wasn't just playing a teenager, she was actually living through it. Her co-star Ashton Kutcher, who later became her husband, even revealed that their character's first kiss on the show was Mila's first kiss ever in real life. So not only was she acting perfectly, but she was also bringing a genuine teenage experience to the role. It's definitely unusual for such a young actress to land a major TV role, especially without being completely honest about her age. But Mila's talent and determination must have shone through, and it all worked out in the end. She ended up playing Jackie Burkhart for 8 seasons, becoming a beloved character and launching her successful acting career. So even though things started with a little secret, it's a story with a happy ending. Tommy Chong went to prison. In That 70s Show, everyone loved the laid-back hippie dude Leo, played by the hilarious Tommy Chong. Leo ran the photo hut, where the main characters often hung out. But after the 4th season, something strange happened. Leo simply vanished. The truth behind his disappearance wasn't a dramatic fight with the showrunners or a sudden career change. Instead, Tommy Chong's real life took a surprising turn. Back in 2003, his company, Chong Glass, Nice Dreams, got caught up in some legal trouble. It wasn't anything about smoking pot itself, even though it was illegal back then, and still is on a federal level. You see, companies called head shops were selling things like glass pipes and bongs everywhere, all perfectly legal. But Tommy's company ran into trouble because they weren't just selling locally. They were sending their glassware across state lines through the internet. This wasn't allowed, and Tommy ended up facing charges for selling drug paraphernalia. He admitted to what he did and took responsibility, but that meant paying a $20,000 fine and ending up in jail for 9 months. It wasn't easy, but when he finally got out, he knew he had to come back to That 70s Show. The fans missed Leo, and the show wouldn't be the same without him. So he rejoined the cast for season 7 and stayed on until the very end. So the next time you watch That 70s Show and see Leo chillin' at the photo hut, remember the real-life adventure that happened behind the scenes. It may not have been what he planned, but Tommy Chong turned a tough situation into a triumphant return, proving that even when life throws you curveballs, you can always find your way back to the things that matter most. The show had a different name. Before That 70s Show became a cult classic and launched the careers of stars like Topher Grace and Mila Kunis, it went through a bit of an identity crisis. You see, the show didn't always have its iconic name. The series, set between 1976 and 1980, naturally featured popular music from iconic bands such as The Who, The Rolling Stones, and Queen. Episode titles often drew inspiration from songs of that era, with the series theme performed by Cheap Trick. Interestingly, the show initially explored the concept of using hit songs as titles, including options like Teenage Wasteland, The Kids Are Alright, Feelin' Alright, and Reeling in the Years. However, due to song rights held by the original artists, none of these options could be used. Fox faced challenges securing rights for the song-based titles, considering the risks involved and the necessity of an established series. The creators feared that tying a well-known song to a potentially short-lived show could be problematic. Moreover, they believed using such titles might make the series less memorable for younger audiences unfamiliar with the music of that particular decade. Despite the roadblocks, production continued without an official title, while episodes were filmed in front of a live audience. The audience didn't seem to mind. In fact, they started calling it the show about the 70s. And that is how That 70s Show got its name. It was simple, memorable, and perfectly described the groovy world it brought to life. So next time you hear that iconic Cheap Trick theme song, remember, That 70s Show had a totally different name. But sometimes, the best things come from the simplest beginnings, and that's definitely true for the show that gave us laughter, love, and a whole lot of bell-bottoms. Deborah Joerup didn't realize show was set in the 1970s. It's funny how sometimes things can go right over your head, even when they are staring you in the face. You would think the title, the clothes, and the disco balls would have been a dead giveaway. But believe it or not, even one of the stars of That 70s Show didn't realize it was set in the 1970s when she first got cast. Deborah Joerup, the woman who brought the iconic Kitty Foreman to life, revealed in a video that it wasn't until they started filming the pilot episode that she finally caught on to the whole 70s thing. Apparently, amidst the excitement of landing the role and getting ready for the big day, the retro vibes just didn't click. Now, Kurtwood, ever the quick wit, jokingly tried to remind her that the title should have been a clue. But guess what? The show wasn't even called That 70s Show yet at that point. It was just another script with a bunch of lines and a dream of making people laugh. So when Deborah finally stepped onto the set and saw those old-fashioned appliances and funky wallpaper, it was like a light bulb went off. It's a funny story, and it just goes to show that sometimes even the most obvious things can slip past us. But hey, at least she caught on eventually, and the world got to enjoy the hilarious adventures of the Foreman family for 8 glorious seasons. Topher Grace dropped out of college. Believe it or not, Eric Foreman from That 70s Show, played by the talented Topher Grace, wasn't always planning on being a television star. In fact, when he landed the role, he was just a wide-eyed freshman at the University of Southern California with 0 professional acting experience under his belt. His only claim to fame? School plays. That's right, the magic of Hollywood sometimes works in mysterious ways. The creators of That 70s Show, Bonnie and Terry Turner, happened to have a daughter who went to the same high school as Topher. They saw him on stage in a school play and were immediately impressed by his talent and charisma. That chance encounter opened the door to an incredible opportunity. Bonnie and Terry invited Topher to audition for the role of Eric Foreman. Despite having no professional acting experience, Topher wowed the casting team with his natural comedic timing and ability to capture the awkwardness and idealism of a 1970s teenager. He landed the role, and the rest is history. But Topher's journey wasn't all smooth sailing, though. Landing the role meant making a big decision: college or That 70s Show. In the end, the allure of Hollywood proved too strong, and Topher made the daring choice to drop out of University of Southern California and pursue his acting dreams. That decision paid off. Topher became the quintessential Eric Foreman, the awkward yet lovable teenage heartthrob of That 70s Show. He brought the character to life with his goofy charm, relatable struggles, and hilarious delivery of those classic Foreman one-liners. For 7 amazing seasons, Topher entertained audiences with his portrayal of Eric. He watched the character grow from a clueless teenager to a young man navigating the complexities of life, love, and disco balls. But all good things must come to an end, and eventually, Topher decided it was time to move on from the show. That 70s Show launched Topher Grace's career into the stratosphere. He went on to star in major Hollywood films from Spider-Man 3 to Interstellar. But his role as Eric Foreman will always hold a special place in the hearts of fans. Chuck Norris turned down playing Red Foreman. The character Red Foreman was a tough cookie through and through, a dyed-in-the-wool conservative with a fondness for hunting and fishing. He embodied a certain type of World War II veteran, gruff, sometimes grumpy, and prone to letting out a frustrated bellow. He loved his family, especially his daughter Lori, but expressing that love often came out sideways, through gruff jokes, backhanded compliments, and the occasional fishing trip which, in Red's world, was practically a declaration of affection. And as for his son, Eric, well, let's just say Red wasn't shy about doling out the tough love with plenty of teasing and the occasional well-meaning, if not exactly gentle, push in the right direction. Of course, Red kept his emotions mostly under wraps. Saying "I love you" wasn't exactly his style. He was a man's man, or at least that's what he believed being a man meant. But underneath that gruff exterior, there was a heart of gold, even if it took a bit of digging to find it. Speaking of unexpected layers, did you know that the actor who brought Red Foreman to life, Kurtwood Smith, played a very different kind of tough guy, Clarence Boddicker, the main villain in the classic 80s sci-fi film RoboCop. Interestingly, when the creators of That 70s Show were casting for the role of the cantankerous sitcom dad, their first choice was another action movie legend, Chuck Norris. Yes, the martial artist turned actor himself was offered the chance to play Eric Foreman's father. Unfortunately, his commitment to his hit crime drama, Walker, Texas Ranger, forced him to decline. While it's hard to imagine anyone else delivering Red's iconic lines like "I'm gonna put my foot in your ass" with quite the same gruff charm, Kurtwood Smith ultimately proved to be the perfect choice. He brought a unique blend of gruffness, humor, and unexpected vulnerability to the role, making Red Foreman one of the most memorable sitcom dads of all time. The reason behind Midge Pinciotti's disappearance. Remember Midge Pinciotti, Donna's lovable mom on That 70s Show? Tanya Roberts brought the character to life, making us laugh with her quirky antics and heartwarming bond with her sassy daughter. But sadly, Midge's time on the show was shorter than we might have liked. When her character disappeared after season 3, fans were left wondering what happened. Some even worried that Tanya Roberts had passed away, but thankfully that wasn't the case. The real reason for Midge's absence was deeply personal. Tanya Roberts' real-life husband, Barry Roberts, was diagnosed with terminal cancer. Faced with this difficult situation, Tanya made the decision to step away from the show and dedicate herself to caring for Barry in his final days. It was a heartbreaking choice, but one that any loving spouse would understand. Thankfully, fans weren't left without Midge forever. After Barry's passing, Tanya returned to That 70s Show for guest appearances in seasons 6 and 7. Her final bow came in the season 7 episode titled "Rip This Joint," bringing a bittersweet closure to Midge's story. Tanya retired from acting in 2005, and in 2021, she sadly passed away after complications from a urinary tract infection. While she may be gone, her memory lives on in the hearts of That 70s Show fans, and Midge Pinciotti will always be remembered as a funny, loving, and unforgettable character. The special pre-show ritual. That 70s Show cast had a secret pre-show ritual that was equal parts silly and heartwarming. Remember Fez, the hilarious foreign exchange student? Well, the actor behind him, Wilmer Valderrama, spilled the beans on a special tradition the cast had before filming each episode. Before they stepped onto the set, the whole gang, Eric, Donna, Kelso, Fez, Jackie, and Kitty and Red, would gather together like a team about to take the field. They would form a circle, pump each other up with words of encouragement, and then, in true team spirit, put their hands in the middle. But this wasn't just any pep talk. There was another twist to this special ritual. A funny word. Each episode got assigned a silly, often ridiculous word that somehow captured its essence. As the seasons went on, Wilmer says, the words got even crazier, adding to the fun on set. This pre-filming ritual wasn't just about getting pumped up. It was a way for the cast to bond and create a strong sense of teamwork. Wilmer described it as one of his favorite moments on set, a chance to connect with his co-stars before diving into the zany world of That 70s Show. Josh Meyer was brought in to replace Topher Grace. Saying goodbye to beloved characters is never easy, and when Topher Grace decided to hang up Eric Foreman's groovy shirt after season 7 of That 70s Show, it left the writers facing a tough decision. Should they recast Eric, or write him out altogether? Initially, they leaned towards finding a new actor to fill Eric's shoes. Josh Myers, brother of the famous talk show host Seth Meyers, was even brought in to audition. But after some deliberation, the showrunners decided it wouldn't be the same without Grace's unique take on the character. So they opted for a different approach. Eric's exit was written into the story. He received a scholarship to study at a prestigious university abroad, giving him a natural and believable reason to leave the gang behind. While viewers might have missed seeing Eric's trademark awkwardness and hilarious schemes, it felt like a fitting send-off for the character. As for Josh Myers, his audition wasn't entirely wasted. Although he didn't take over as Eric, he was still brought on board to play Randy, a new friend of the group who brought his own brand of comedic charm to the final season. And for fans who couldn't imagine saying goodbye to Eric forever, a glimmer of hope remained. Topher Grace actually returned for a guest appearance in the series finale, offering a satisfying closure to his character's arc. In the end, letting Eric go may have been bittersweet, but it allowed the show to stay true to its core while leaving the door open for new characters and storylines. Kurtwood Smith inspiration for Red Foreman. Despite being a seasoned actor by the time he joined That 70s Show, Kurtwood Smith knew exactly where to look for inspiration when it came to playing the gruff, no-nonsense dad, Red Foreman. As soon as he read the script, one person immediately came to mind: his stepfather. Sadly, Smith's stepdad passed away before filming even began, but the memories of him remained, and Smith used them to shape his portrayal of Red throughout the show's 8 seasons. He drew on his stepdad's personality, his mannerisms, and even voice to bring Red to life with a gruff charm. It wasn't just an impersonation. It was a tribute, a way to keep his stepfather's memory alive through this iconic character. And it worked. Red Foreman resonated with audiences, becoming one of the most beloved sitcom dads of all time. For Smith, it wasn't just another role in a long and illustrious career. Red Foreman held a special place in his heart. He admitted that this was the one character he cherished more than any other. Perhaps it was the connection to his stepdad, or the sheer fun of playing such a complex and memorable figure. Whatever the reason, there's no doubt that Smith's portrayal of Red Foreman was a labor of love, one that continues to entertain and inspire generations of fans. Topher Grace wanted to be a tennis star. As mentioned before, Topher Grace's path to Hollywood wasn't paved with acting classes and auditions. Before making us laugh on television, Topher dreamed of hitting aces on the tennis court. From a young age, Topher was captivated by the world of tennis. His heroes were the stars of the game, their powerful serves and graceful volleys fueling his own desire to compete. He put in the hours, training hard and developing his skills, and even showed promise as a potential rising talent. But fate had other plans. A bad ankle sprain ruined his tennis dreams, and doctors told him the unfortunate news that playing at a high level wouldn't be possible anymore. Dejected but determined, Topher looked for a new outlet for his talent and drive. He decided to step onto a different stage, the one in his high school's production of A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. This one play was what changed everything. His performance caught the eye of the right people, landing him the audition that would ultimately lead to his iconic role as Eric Foreman. While his tennis dreams may have been sidelined, Topher's switch to acting proved he was a true champion of versatility, trading in his racket for scripts and making audiences laugh instead of roar with applause. That 80s Show? While That 70s Show was still rocking the airwaves in its early years, Fox attempted to capture the magic of another decade with the aptly named That 80s Show. Though not technically a spin-off, That 80s Show felt like a familiar cousin. Same showrunners, same formula. A group of young friends navigating life with laughs and misadventures. On the surface, That 80s Show ticked all the nostalgia boxes. Big hair, neon lights, and a soundtrack pumped full of classic tunes promised a blast from the past. But sadly, the show stumbled where it mattered most: heart and humor. Unlike its predecessor, which relied on relatable characters and genuine chemistry, That 80s Show felt hollow. The characters lacked the charm and depth that made the That 70s Show gang so endearing. The humor leaned heavily on predictable references and tired jokes, relying on a relentless laugh track to mask its mediocrity. Even in That 70s Show's weaker episodes, the cast's chemistry could salvage the humor. In That 80s Show, that warmth was absent, leaving the audience feeling detached and unengaged. Ultimately, That 80s Show failed to capture the lightning in a bottle that made its predecessors so successful. After just 13 episodes, the show was canceled, leaving behind a short-lived experiment in nostalgia that never quite lived up to its potential. The decade it tried to relive never truly came alive on screen, and the show faded into TV history as a reminder that sometimes, even the best formulas need a touch of magic to work. So while That 70s Show continues to be a beloved classic, That 80s Show remains a footnote in television history. Topher Grace finds That 70s Show hard to watch. That 90s Show stands as the follow-up or sequel to the well-loved That 70s Show. It made its debut on Netflix in January 2023. This series focuses on a fresh generation of teenagers navigating suburban life, embarking on various adventures, and grappling with the complexities of growing up. As they strive to shape their futures and ponder what lies ahead, the characters embark on a journey to understand life and establish their identities. For die-hard That 70s Show fans, That 90s Show offered a chance to relive their own teenage years through a new lens. It was a way to reconnect with the heart and humor of the original, while discovering a new batch of characters to root for. And while some might have wished they could just keep watching Red Foreman and the gang on Netflix, That 90s Show proved that the 70s weren't the only decade worth revisiting. But bringing back That 70s Show magic wasn't just about pleasing fans. For Topher Grace, who returned as the iconic Red Foreman, it was a journey down a bittersweet memory lane. Before the confirmation of his cameo in the sequel series, Topher made an appearance on SiriusXM's The Jess Cagle Show to promote his ABC sitcom, Home Economics. During the interview, he revealed that revisiting the show that propelled him to fame can be a bit overwhelming. According to him, it was like watching his high school yearbook come alive on screen. It brought back a flood of nostalgia, reminding him of a time when everything felt new and exciting. So, while That 90s Show may have scratched the 90s nostalgia itch for many, for Topher Grace, it was a walk down memory lane with a mix of emotions. It was a chance to reconnect with a beloved character, but also a reminder of how much time has passed, and how precious those carefree days of youth truly were. Commitment, controversy, and connection. Danny Masterson took on the role of Eric's live-in best friend, Hyde, for That 70s Show. However, during the initial stages of shooting, Masterson faced a dilemma as he was simultaneously involved in filming the cult 90s movie, The Faculty. Struggling to juggle commitments, he had to make a crucial decision. Masterson opted to scale back his involvement in The Faculty to ensure he could fully participate in shooting the pilot for That 70s Show. It was a gamble that paid off big time, launching him into sitcom stardom. Unfortunately, Masterson's personal life took a dark turn when he became associated with the Church of Scientology. This association wasn't just controversial, it was devastating. Multiple women came forward with serious allegations of assault against him. Before these accusations surfaced, Masterson and his co-star Laura Prepon, who played Eric's love interest Donna, seemed to share a strong on-screen chemistry. Interestingly, their bond extended beyond acting. They were both members of the same controversial church. This shared affiliation added another layer of complexity to their relationship, leaving some fans questioning whether their on-screen connection was fueled by real-life friendship or something more unsettling. Ultimately, Masterson's personal choices made headlines for all the wrong reasons. He was sentenced to 30 years to life in prison in September 2023 for taking advantage of 2 women. This news shattered the image of the funny, loyal Hyde, leaving fans grappling with the stark contrast between the beloved character and the real-life man behind him. While Masterson's early career choices seemed to propel him forward, his later decisions have left a trail of pain and controversy. His association with Scientology and the subsequent assault allegations have irrevocably altered his public image and forever cast a shadow over the legacy of the character he once brought to life. From crazy co-stars to happy family, they shared playful banter and on-screen chemistry as Jackie and Kelso in That 70s Show. But behind the scenes, Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher weren't exactly best friends. In fact, Kunis admitted in a 2016 interview that early on, she thought he was crazy. Their off-camera relationship wasn't always smooth sailing. They went through their fair share of friendship breakups, periods where they simply didn't get along. This might come as a surprise to fans who witnessed their undeniable spark on screen, but it turns out real life wasn't as scripted as Hollywood portrayals. But as life tends to do, things take an unexpected turn. After years of separate paths and individual growth, their connection evolved into something deeper. Maybe it was their shared experiences under the sitcom spotlight, or perhaps a newfound understanding that blossomed over time. Whatever the reason, Kunis and Kutcher eventually reconnected, and as they say, the rest is history. After tying the knot in 2015 and welcoming two beautiful children, they have built a life that's far from the teenage antics of Point Place. They navigate parenthood, Hollywood careers, and the ups and downs of life together, proving that sometimes the most unexpected beginnings can lead to the most fulfilling chapters. The legacy of That 70s Show. That 70s Show wasn't just a sitcom, it was a cultural phenomenon that brought laughter and nostalgia to millions. So when it finally wrapped in 2006 after 8 glorious years, it wasn't just the viewers who felt the sting of its absence. The cast, who had become like family over the years, found saying goodbye a tearful affair. Filming the final episode was a bittersweet experience. Takes took longer than usual, not because of technical difficulties, but because emotions ran high. Laura Prepon, the tough-as-nails Donna, reportedly couldn't hold back the tears during her scenes. But even though the credits rolled on the final episode, the friendships remained strong. That 70s Show might be a beloved piece of television history, but for the cast, it's also a shared chapter they continue to celebrate. Wilmer Valderrama, the ever-charming Fez, revealed that the gang still gets together often. Dinner parties at a cast member's house have become a monthly ritual, filled with laughter and reminiscing. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one.